We love horror movies from the 70s and 80s, and we watch them for 2 days straight, and then we go write a book. Now we're looking back at every title, one at a time, in this podcast that we put out monthly. Once we've had an episode for every movie, it's time to meet up for another Shock Marathon.
Oh yeah, welcome. The red record button is red, and we're here. I'm Matt Farley, here with Tom Scalzo.
Hello.
And Charlie Roxburgh.
Greetings.
We're talking about Night Creature, which is awesome. Is that the title that is on your DVD box, Tom?
VHS.
Oh, forgive me. Night Creature. Yeah, I read somewhere it goes under another title too, but not.
Oh, another title.
Oh.
Yeah, it goes under
Let me count the
five,
titles.
five other titles. Some that I'm sure the director doesn't even know about. Or doesn't know about. Yeah.
And what a movie it is.
Also known as Cat.
Yeah.
They were gonna release this movie as Cat, not even like Evil Cat or Blood Cat, just Cat.
That's bold. I saw what was described as a TV advertisement for this movie, which I find hard, like a little hard to believe that they ran ads on TV. But in the ad, they describe Donald Pleasence, who you know from the movie Halloween, and the gall for them to connect to try to trick fans of Halloween into seeing this movie is admirable.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
I think this actually was filmed before Halloween, but possibly released after.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that very much. Night Creature, opening credits, we get shots of the evil cat that are periodically freeze-framed so that we can get some of those opening credits. And what is it? It's a puma? Is that what we describe this cat as? No. What is it, Charlie?
They call it a leopard in the story, but I like to call it a puma or sometimes a panther. And when I say any of those ones, I'm not sure it's right as I'm saying it.
When I look at that cat, I think puma. You know?
But they say leopard, and I guess you can.
They say leopard.
You can have a black leopard. I tend to like a leopard with spots. That's how I prefer my leopards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Panther is much better, I think. But
yeah,
Panther
scary.
or puma, I'll take either one of them. The movie starts off with what I guess we're supposed to believe is a news report. And the the reporter says, among other things, Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Axel McGregor, who now makes his home on an island on the River Kwai, has announced that he will postpone his restoration work on a number of Buddhist temples there long enough to hunt the man-eating black leopard that has been marauding villages. I'm not sure if that's the word he said there, but anyway, in one of the northern provinces, McGregor has been called a living legend. In his
so much information.
How often are any novelists given this much time on a news broadcast? Yeah. In his long career, he has been a war correspondent, a test pilot, a race car driver, and a big game hunter. Today, the living legend will face what is reputed to be one of the deadliest carnivorous animals on Earth. This cat is said to kill for the simple pleasure of killing, frequently leaving his victims behind as he moves from one village to another, leaving a gruesome and frightening legend of his own. The natives in that region have come to believe that this man-eater is possessed of supernatural powers, but McGregor doesn't appear to share that view. He says that he looks forward to the hunt with confidence and enthusiasm. What a world where a man going hunting is national news.
They really. He's not shown with like pad or pencil or near a typewriter as far as I can remember in the whole film. He doesn't sell writer to me at all, right?
No,
I mean,
only
he's
in a Hemingway quality, I guess.
Yeah, he's mostly, I guess,
those
mad.
They're
long gone.
Yeah, I think so.
He believed his own press. He's living off the legend.
He did believe his own press. That's true.
What a great intro. I like that. It's well written and a good way to get a lot of information across to the
Cheaply.
Cheaply.
And it not only gets a lot of information across, it creates an atmosphere that otherwise is not at all created. It's like this animal is somehow supernatural and like a terror to these villagers, but you don't get that pretty much ever in the movie. And it's great. It's like you just start your movie just saying something is true, and you just have to like, force it down people's throat.
Right, because they don't convince us otherwise.
Right.
So we get to see Pleasance stalking through the forest, looking much like Ito Hootkins, I would say, from Don't Let the River Beast Get You. What a presence Donald has in these scenes with the natives. Just kind of, it seemed like they had about a half hour, and like, Donald, go that way and look like you're looking for a beast. All right, now go the other way and look like you're looking for a beast. And that is awesome.
Yeah. It's great.
So then,
And what's odd though is it feels like it's almost like a documentary, like with that voiceover. You think like there's like a camera crew there, like documenting, capturing this hunt, but that doesn't seem to actually be happening.
yeah,
But
well,
they try to like mesh all this news report together with this hunt, but it's
it feels
not
like it was
actually being filmed.
feels like it was filmed so hastily that it was practically documentary quality. It was just,
It's so cheap.
Yeah.
it was so wonderfully cheap, and that's good. So then I guess the cat attacks Axel, and I thought one of his assistants shot the cat, but that's not the case. We get a point of view shot of the cat going at him, and then a shot of so
Assistant shoots and scares it away.
Okay.
Kind of, right?
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they don't always have the cat attacking people, so we just have the camera coming at people, and then it cuts back to the cat just kind of standing there, right, Charlie?
Yeah, pretty much. I think they might be hinting that the cat could have killed Pleasance, but he wanted to wait to kill him later. Like they had there's a lot of eyes overlaid
Oh,
in this.
so much.
Oh,
Pleasance, man versus beast, man versus his own insanity and all that good like pretentious stuff. But I think that like the cat knew he could hurt Pleasance more by knocking him over and not killing him, and letting him live as a coward.
What a cat! Oh, that cat is ruthless.
He rubs it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The poor,
It's devious.
the actual animal. I feel terrible for it that it had to be put through the. It doesn't look like it was treated badly, of course, but that beautiful.
A little bit.
Okay.
Like when they're wrestling in the net.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He didn't like that.
So then Axel goes back to his island on a speedboat, and he tells his legion of servants that they're to take 2 weeks off and leave his island. And then
Paid.
oh, it's a
Paid
paid.
weeks off. Yeah.
paid-
Yeah.
good
You
for
know what
him.
that is?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a party.
I really like this part coming up here where how he's setting up for to have the hunt again. It's so comical how easy it is for the lower like peons and not famous hunters to just get the cat. They're like, hey, I want to hunt this cat. So you go hunt him first. Catch him in like 45 minutes, bring him to me, and then I'm going to try to stalk him for like days.
With only 9 bullets, which is great.
The whole hunt. I don't want to skip ahead too much, but that whole hunting of the leopard, it seems like it's taking place like in an alternate universe. 'Cause you got like Axel sitting there in his mansion, just staring in the distance, and it's like pouring rain or whatever, and then it cuts to these guys doing this hunt, and it's perfectly nice weather. That happens throughout the whole movie.
The rain comes and
changes in
goes.
reality.
So
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of brooding in his on his island, and at one point he's wearing a really loud, bright gold shirt with some kind of scarf-like accessory around his neck, and that's good stuff. Do you guys remember that? No.
Not exactly.
Yeah, I think they give it to him when he first comes back on to his island. It's like his welcome home like accoutrements.
It
And then
it's a little
It's nice.
a little Brando-esque right there.
yeah.
So then so yeah, he puts out a bounty, $10,000 for the capture. But he's only if the beast is alive, Charlie.
I think right around this time, many people dreamt of being weird loner hunters in like castles.
Are you what are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of
Blood Feast?
Yes, I'm thinking of Night of a Thousand Cats. I'm thinking of I'm thinking of Laval Blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
People
point.
Who fancy that, like, they want to wear like some silken robes, and they want like smoking jackets, and they want like the crossbow and stuff.
Yeah. I mean and you know, Apocalypse Now too. There's something going. There's something in the air.
There's something in the air. That's what I'm getting at.
So the beauty of it is that, like we say here, it's very easy. It turns out to capture the beast. They just they just almost sacrifice one guy, right? One guy gets attacked by the cat, and then they drop the net over both the cat and the guy. Do we know? Did that guy die, Tom?
I think that's the implication. But their strategy, they just wander through the jungle blowing like kazoos and banging on drums, and that, you know, brings the cat out, and he just kind of watches all of this nonsense. And then one guy stops to like smoke a cigarette, and like any intelligent predator, he waits, you know, till the herd is thinned out a bit, and he goes after that guy. And so it's these foolish locals. They stumbled into capturing him, but I don't think they did a really very good job.
Like a net captures him, right? Like he gets tugged, and the guy wrestles him in the net.
It didn't feel like it didn't feel like that was their plan, and yet he got attacked right where the net happened to be. But the whole premise of the movie is that this cat is has like superpowers, and yet it can be caught so easily, and it ruined. You know, I'm gonna let it go, of course, but I need to acknowledge that they're contradicting themselves right at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they tried to explain it later when Pleasence says that leopards they always do what you don't expect them to do, even if it's stupid.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
They'll come right in the house when you don't expect them to come right in the house.
So,
all right.
So if you buy that, then anything goes.
So here's what's going on. Pleasence apparently is paying $10,000 to get this cat brought to his island so that he can have a one-on-one battle with it. You know, because he's mad that he lost the first time. So that's what's going on. But meanwhile, his two daughters are coming to make a surprise visit with his granddaughter and Ross, who runs a tour guide company wherever they are. They're in Asia somewhere, right?
Thailand.
They're in Thailand, and okay. Now, what are the details? His name is Ross, but he Charlie, straighten this out.
Okay. Yeah, his name is Ross, but he's clearly the main guy in a company that's called Texas Tom's Thailand Tours, I think.
Yes.
Had some alliteration going on. But there's a guy who's just the driver whose name is Tom, and he's not from Texas. So they just kind of merged this guy Ross, who is from Texas, I think. Didn't want to be Texas Ross. So he stole the other guy's name and just invented that for the company, but he kind of portrays a character that is a Texas Tom, which confused us greatly. And it also, I think we credited the actor with the wrong name the first time we reviewed it.
Well, it's an unnecessarily complicated backstory. I mean,
it's amazing that a no-budget movie went to the detail to explain that. It's almost as if, we talk about this sometimes, that the filmmaker knew someone who did that,
and wanted to put it in the movie as a tribute to somebody.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with the story, and it just wastes time.
It's too weird and random otherwise. So there's something going on there, but it's great. And I don't know what we're going to call him for the rest of the podcast. I want to call him Texas Tom, but his name is Ross. Charlie?
Just like Hawaii Pete, both people Karate Pete, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Both people had vans with sheets that had like painted company names on the side, bus and van, but that similarity is just wonderful.
So,
Yeah.
Tom.
I think we should just call him Texas Tom, even though that's not actually his name, because that's more fun.
We hear.
Here. Yes.
So they're off to visit Axel, and they have to get on a bus. We got Peggy's the little girl. Her aunt Leslie. Her aunt Leslie is a nice lady. Her mom, Georgia, is a mess. And Texas Tom is awesome. That's the foursome right there, pretty much. Yeah.
It's almost very natural, these characters, because they seem kind of real. Like Georgia is really a mess, but not so much a mess that it's very dramatic and over the top. She just seems like a lady who is spoiled and drinks too much. And Leslie is like a very normal woman. It's minutia, and it's really weird, totally normal, not exciting stuff.
It is, and Texas Tom brings it together and makes it work, because he's larger than life, and he is great.
Yeah.
If he had more screen time, he'd be an all-time legend. I mean, he's pretty close to an all-time legend anyway. But and also Leslie was pretty famous through the 60s in a lot of movies and TV shows. You guys notice that?
Yeah, I knew her from the Wonder Women.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of good stuff, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's a good actress.
All right, so meanwhile, Axel's killing time on the island until the hunters show up, and he pays them the 10 grand for the beast. And he then apparently he speaks telepathically to the cat, informing it that they'll be in a mano-a-mano battle upon the island. He says, "If I could kill you, perhaps I'll be all right. Look at me. There's no way off this island for either of us. You understand? I could kill you now, but it's my game. I make the rules. Only one bullet for each of your 9 lives." And the cat seems to comprehend this.
So why can't he just say it out loud? It doesn't make any sense.
No.
The whole movie's dubbed anyway, so they're like, yeah, what difference does it make? So he releases the cat, who very slowly gets out of the cage, and so that's the situation. Meanwhile, Texas Tom sees the ladies off the boat for the island, and but they convince him to come with them. Oh yeah, so he was gonna stay on the mainland, but he's very quickly and easily convinced to join them, to go to Axel's, which is, thank God. What would we do without that guy?
No, I know, and his little photo session with Leslie is quite charming. They go for the classic freeze frame, and he's just doing these outlandish clown poses, so excited and broad. And of course they freeze the frame, not from the character Leslie's point of view. They film it just from the regular camera's point of view.
All rules are being broken there. Yeah.
So bad. So
as soon as they get to the island, little Peggy goes off looking for Socrates the dog, which is a big problem. The rest of them are getting settled in the house. Georgia's looking for booze any chance she gets. She's a big drinker. And we learn that Georgia's had 4 marriages in like a mini soap opera-esque scene between her and Leslie, where Leslie gently pries regarding how Georgia's doing, and it ends with a hug. That was turn up the melodrama to 100, huh, Tom?
Oh wow! Leslie looks over at her and she says, "How are you doing?" And then Georgia says, "I'm fine." And then Leslie says, "No, how are you doing?"
That's right. I mean, she didn't just mean like, "How are you doing?" Like right now, she meant, "How are you doing?" That's so deep.
I know. It's like psychically and emotionally, how is your soul doing?
That's good writing.
Now, Leslie immediately takes a liking to Texas Tom, and there seems to be no guilt or worry about the fact that Tom and Georgia are an item. Right? They are an item, right, Charlie?
It's hazy.
It's exceptionally loose. It is not definite. And he keeps her at arm's length. You know, she wants to go to Monte Carlo, and he says, "Don't think so, babe."
Okay, well, at the very least, Leslie knows that Georgia is interested in Tom.
Correct.
But that does not stop her from the great photo shoot. We learn that Leslie's a famous fashion photographer, which is what leads to the scene Charlie already referenced, where among other poses, Tom beats his bare chest while screaming, and it is good stuff.
Man,
the freeze frames are unnecessary.
There's even a nice shot in there where they're like on some sort of a like scaffolding in front of this waterfall, you know, and they're taking these pictures, and Tom is kind of lounging on the edge, or maybe sort of like a railing, and then one of the shots he's like in the waterfall, like
yes,
immediately, and then he's back. It's like no time has passed, and he's traveled like hundreds of yards.
Texas Tom is a poetic man, and at one point in discussing how he stopped reading newspapers, he says, "It's like an endless cartoon strip, and we're all part of it," which is, I wrote that down because that's deep, huh, Charlie?
Yeah, I agree with that. It gave me pause.
So then Georgia shows up and Leslie leaves. This is the moment where Georgia invites him to Monte Carlo, and he says, "I don't think so, babe."
He's so quick with it. It's so genius. It just comes out so easily.
Yeah.
And that's around his working up an appetite time, right?
Right. Georgia mentions that Leslie is independent and mysterious, and Texas Tom, what does he do, Tom?
Well, he just starts kind of slowly dancing, shuffling back and forth, and then he starts some head bobs and some swinging of his arms, and it turns into like a whole kind of jumping jack / dance routine.
And she says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm working up an appetite." And she's like, "What? Oh my! This is so great."
Was it written? That was that in the script.
There's no way.
It is.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's magical. It is a magical moment in the history of film. It was better this time. Like, I knew it was coming, and it was still better than the first time I saw it. I mean, wow.
It's and this happens not only with this, but a few other times later in the film, where I think someone wrote this in one of their reviews originally. It just feels like no one knew when to stop. You know, the scene just is like you can tell the actors are like, well, I guess we just keep going. There's no, but it's over. The scene is over. You know, there's no need for it to keep going.
Oh,
yeah,
thank God.
The air has come out of it, and then their eyes are like just that 10% kind of confused. And the director, I'm sure, was like, "Yeah, we're getting more movie done."
God bless that guy for keeping it rolling, and God bless the actor who played Texas Tom for that dance move. So good, and that's like a Pahu style moment, you know, where an actor just it becomes so endearing. Meanwhile, it's nighttime. It's raining out. Peggy has been gone all this time, the little girl, looking for Socrates, the dog. And Georgia decides that she's going to search in a few minutes. She's going to give it a few more minutes, like on this rugged island.
Jungle island.
Yes.
Yeah. Of all the places, not only is it a jungle, but there's rickety scaffolding that she's on. She's on slippery, wet, high up scaffolding in a jungle with wild animals, and I don't even think the little girl came into the house and set a bag down or anything, or had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was just got off the boat, went to the wilds of the jungle.
It feels like it's been
lost.
6 hours. It feels like it's been 6 hours that she's been wandering the jungle, but she makes it back. Surprisingly, good for little Peggy. I'm happy for her. So that's cool. There's lots of good lines, but Tom tells Leslie, one of my favorites is when he says, I never knew a woman who knew how to love without trying to turn it into some kind of security trap. And then Leslie tells him that she's never seen a man able to fall in love without turning it into a slave-master relationship. That's some. It's just some good. I mean, it's bad, but in all the right ways. Tom.
Yeah, it's really trying to be poetic too. That scene is like, it's not just those lines. They keep going. They refer back to the comic strip metaphor from earlier, and then they start creating hypothetical creatures like people, and then they say they should get together, and it's like his mythological woman and her mythological man, like they're like ideals of men and women, and it gets very complicated what they're talking about.
And she tells him she's glad he's not going to Monte Carlo, and then they kiss. So, Charlie.
Their talk here, it almost feels like it could have been given to the Cage Terror characters.
Yeah.
The girl with her story about pomegranates, and then Richard with his weird, a very 70s, I don't know,
pseudo-intellectual,
political gender issues and pseudo-intellectual. Yeah.
So, Georgia turns on the floodlights to go out and search for Socrates. Axel, who's been just wandering about hunting the cat all this time, he notices the light. And then Georgia and Peggy see the beast up there amongst the ruins, and Georgia's attacked and she dies. Right? Georgia's dead. Charlie.
Quick thing here. Yeah, I just want to point out how dark it is here. And I know this is a low-budget movie. We probably watched a bad transfer.
Yeah.
But when Georgia looks off towards that temple, I was like, is that the cat there? 'Cause there's no lights, and that leopard is dark black.
Just different shades of black.
I'm like, I can assume that that's the leopard, but I was struggling to see what she was seeing.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you said happens basically. Yeah, the leopard comes together, and this is kind of a heroic moment for Georgia, right?
Yep. She saves her. She doesn't seem like the most attentive mom, but she does give young Peggy a chance to run up to the scaffolding, which is where she stays for the remainder of the movie. And then Pleasence shows up and finds the beast killing his daughter Georgia. And Pleasence takes the body away, brings it inside. Tom goes looking for Peggy. And Leslie and Axel are sad back at the mansion. I didn't mean it to happen, he says. I thought I was alone. Where did you come from? I don't blame you. They should have called, right, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should have called. He might not have had a phone. It's hard to know these recluse types.
True.
But that, I don't want to gloss over the raw emotion going on when it's Leslie and Axel and the dead Georgia. It is powerful. Like they are both shaking with the intensity of their emotions in that scene.
Yes. So then they sit together sometime later, and she questions why he brought the animal to the island. And I don't know if this is that scene too that you're talking about, Tom, but she says, "All my life I've understood you, only you never knew it. You brought the cat here because you didn't want to face the truth. If you killed the cat, then you could patch up the old myth, Axel McGregor, the living legend. You believed your own press." Oh.
And then Pleasance has kind of a Halloween 5 bit here where he says, "Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where the hell did you all come from?" And this is like the first, at this point, he seems completely insane, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a couple moments later, you will see, I'm not going to jump too far ahead, but his level of insanity is not consistent at all. And he's already off the rocker, then he's back, and then he's crazy again. But he's great. He's Pleasence.
I would love to know how many days he promised to these producers. He's like, "All right, I'll do your movie. I'll give you 4 days," And they were just running like mad and just, Is the phrase "chewing the scenery"? Is this an example of that, Tom?
I think so. Yeah, he's getting everything he can get
He's just
out of it.
going
He
for
doesn't.
it.
Yeah, he doesn't phone it in. I mean, he probably wasn't there for a long time, but I've seen other celebrity like guest appearances where they are super calm and they don't do a lot.
Yeah, but you see, like we know Pleasance is a professional,
Yeah.
and but some of these other, and he's probably fine with Lee Madden never saying cut, and the scene never ending. He doesn't break, but in that scene when Leslie before she's confronting him, she kind of at one point is kind of just says like why or something, and she's crying and she's sniffling and she's trying to be emotional, but you can tell she like doesn't know when to stop, and she kind of breaks out of it for a minute, and then like she gets back into it, and like she's like trying to be sad for too long, and it just feels weird.
She can't keep up with Pleasance. No one
That's
can.
right. Yeah, that's true.
Nobody could.
So
So, it's the next day. Peggy's been up on the scaffolding overnight in the rain. But when we do cut to her from time to time, she seems comfortable and and pretty happy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she's actually getting some shut eye.
she's curled in a ball.
Pleasance is limping through the rain, calling out her name. And then now the cat is up on the scaffolding with Peggy. Oh no. Axel spots her and he shoots the beast and chases it up the steps of the ruins. And then he gets a little head-to-head moment with the beast, and instead of shooting it, he has a flashback to the time he was attacked. We don't know, but we soon learn that the reason he retreats is because he's out of bullets. Right, Tom?
Yeah, he pulls the trigger, but it's just empty.
Because of the the foolish scheme to only have 9 bullets. That was it's come back. He's already shot all 9, I guess, Charlie.
Yeah, and he was almost firing them like warning shots. He was just kind of like, "Get away!" Firing up there, and then he actually gets up there and he's looking right at it. He's like, "Oh no,
Axel, you idiot!" Oh.
oh yeah."
All right, so he goes back to the house and tells the others Peggy's all right. She's up on a scaffolding. At any moment, the cat could get her.
You know what else is funny? I'm sorry, but it seems like if you wanted to be like the most hardcore hunter, you would take 1 bullet.
Yeah.
And you would, to redeem himself, he would be staring him in the eyes and fire the 1 bullet. It's like, whoa, I'm thinking 9.
The old 9 lives clause. Yeah.
There's some number that's tied in with cats, right? Yeah, 9. That's I'm going with that.
And I love it. It's like, yeah, Peggy's fine. Make me a drink. Like they're all just like sitting in there, like with towels, and they're warming up.
It's domestic. It becomes instantly domestic again. And they tried to have this cat be supernatural, like we said, and almost be like a Jason who is outside and could come get you.
Yeah.
But you have these interludes where it's like it's just regular domestic life, and because he's not supernatural and all the doors and windows are closed, it's more or less like they can't be gotten. There's a girl who's up high who can't really be gotten. Let's make some tea.
Yeah. And it feels, I don't know the landscape. I haven't figured out the geography of this island, but it felt to me like the scaffolding was just on the other side of the gates. I'm sure it's a little more than that, but it feels like saving Peggy would be pretty darn easy, Charlie.
Idea. Road trip to this island.
On the River Kwai.
Yeah, right. We bring like some compasses. We bring some map makers, and we kind of draw this thing out and figure these distances involved and see how believable.
It's a good idea.
I'm in. If any listeners want to bankroll this expedition, go to ShockMarathons.com and we'll figure something out. But we are up for the challenge of figuring out exactly. We're gonna make a map. Anyway. Texas Tom says he's going to go get a hunting party. His plan is to run to the water and swim to the boat. So from time to time, we get to see him swimming around. Meanwhile, back at the house, okay, if Tom can run to the water and swim to the boat, he can run to the scaffolding and save Peggy, right?
Well, they do point out that cats don't like water, so he gets into the water. I'm throwing them a bone here, but
Okay.
he gets to the water fairly quickly, and then he swims. And I got to give this guy, Texas Tom, props, because that didn't look that easy, and that water looked kind of gross.
Yes.
And that's good to do.
Yeah, that was not fake.
It's tough.
There's
It's tough.
no CGI involved. So we get to deal with some nice drama between Leslie and Pleasence again back at the house. And that's where we learn, where Pleasence talked about how he's out of bullets. Leslie goes for a drink in the kitchen and sees the beast through the glass. The beast breaks through the glass, but then she shoos it away.
No, she
throws
throws hot water.
Yeah, that it's funnier to say she shoos it away. But it almost feels like it's just a little pest, I mean,
Yeah.
Then we get to see Tom swimming. Now he's apparently on his way back because the boat was gone. The boat disappeared in the rain. Charlie.
It was like average Thailand rain, and and there's like, oh, the boat washed away. That would mean like every day that you took a boat there, it would wash away.
I kept waiting for Pleasance to say, "The cat did it."
Yeah,
That would have fit in so
It
nicely.
totally would have.
that would have made the movie close up of a little claw going to the rope, ding, and then cut to the cat, where you roll the footage forward and then back and then forward like he's laughing.
Yes.
That would have been so good.
That would have been great. So Texas Tom gets to the house. Leslie updates him on the latest about the window attack in the kitchen. Meanwhile, the little girl continues to just sit on the scaffolding as the adults sit in the mansion, talking about how there's nothing that can be done.
There's a little bit of a diatribe on fear here.
Tell
I
us.
think Axel, he asks, "Are you afraid?" to Texas Tom, and Texas Tom says, "Hell yes, I'm afraid." Something like it makes me human or something like that.
Yes,
But
I like
and then
that.
Axel is being, very poetic about fear.
Right, that happens. Axel wakes up from a dream. That's how that, and he bores Tom and the audience with the details of the dream, which then leads into that discussion. They discuss the differences between Georgia and Leslie, and then the fear talk. And when Tom takes over, that is the best moment of it. He's like, "Of course I feel fear. It means I'm alive," Meanwhile, Tom's tour guide partner, whose name is actually Tom, right?
That's actually Texas Tom.
The actual Texas Tom.
But he might not be from Texas.
No, it seems unlikely that he's from Texas.
He seems like he's from
But
Thailand.
Ross is from Texas.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what's funny
Don't
is
pick at it.
this guy arrives on the island, and they must have filmed it on a very dry day because it's not raining and there's no wetness anywhere in the landscape.
No.
Even though on the same island we cut back to the main characters getting drenched, but that's fun. And so the poor the actual Tom, very soon upon arriving on the island, gets attacked by the big cat, and
Yep.
and that's heartbreaking for Texas Tom, who referencing the gate to the mansion screams out, "We've got ourselves in a cage, man, a cage!" Oh, that's good, huh?
Oh,
Tom,
man.
is that spoken in another movie that we've watched? Almost the same. It's not Cage Terror, because I remember having a false belief that they said that in Cage Terror, which seems like they should, but he never does.
Yeah.
Is there another?
I think they say it in Curse of the Screaming Dead. I think he says something almost like that.
Yeah. They're trapped
thing.
somewhere, and someone says something just like that.
Yeah.
In the same manner too, but when it happened in this movie, I thought, "Oh, that's this movie," because I say that in my daily life.
Yeah, me too.
I always knew it as a Texas Tom line. It's also in the great film Don't Let the River Beast Get You, which is available on demand on Amazon.com. Check it out, folks. Pleasence is back in, as I think Charlie said, it's kind of a up and down performance in terms of how crazy he is in any given scene. He's back in a trance-like state, muttering, "Oh my God," over and over again, and then saying, "If we could get the cat in here and ourselves out there, we've got to get that child. Oh my God!" And then we get to cut to the little girl who's just hanging out on the scaffolding, and it's great. And then Pleasence breaks up into his hysterics. Oh, this is rough, but wonderful. "Look at me, the famous Axel McGregor reduced to cat bait. What an idiot I am. Why did I ever bring the animal here? Silly cat bait." And everyone else has a big laugh, like, ah, ha, ha. And
they were so poorly directed, all on different pages. Like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, Pleasance is funny is a sad funny, and then the other people started chuckling as if it were good funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They should have more pity in their reaction to him. You know,
They were trying. I have a feeling like they were trying to copy. I don't know exactly what year things were done, but it feels like they were trying to copy Jaws when everybody's showing their scars, then they start singing.
Yeah.
And then Jaws punches his nose through the side of the boat. It's like happy, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's like that done poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Jaws, there's not a dead body lying 3 feet away from you and a little girl in perilous danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Socrates?
I think did we?
I think he gets killed.
Yeah, Socrates died.
Oh, they don't show it, or do they show it? I can't remember.
There's like a
Off-camera.
squealing off screen.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So then basically the cat comes into the compound. Tom and Leslie run off. Pleasance stays a little extra time, and then he shuts the door and he runs off too. They save the little girl, and then they go to the boat. Axel dumps some gasoline or something, and as they're floating away on the boat, he shoots the dock. He found a gun, like a flare gun or something in the boat, and that's what he uses to explode the docks. And I guess the cat's been killed.
They could still do a sequel. It's open because you see fire and you see the cat's eyes behind, but this cat is supernatural. This cat's one mean mother. He could still be out there.
Yeah. And they really beat home that there's this link between Pleasence and the cat by fading in and out of their faces with their eyes lining up, like.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't buy at all any kind of connection, or like Pleasence doesn't even seem that interested, and the cat seems completely uninterested.
Well, maybe the cat believes his own press. Like, he's heard this narrator bragging about how many people the cat's been killed in the villages. He's like, I'm a real bad, tough guy now.
It's so funny that they're trying to make us think there's news reports about this little tiff between a writer and an animal.
It almost seems like it was a little bit influenced by Apocalypse Now, in the most nowhere near, not even they're not even the same. They're not even both movies. That's how far apart these two things are. But it feels like they wanted that primal stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, they might have been before Apocalypse Now, though, right? Were they getting word from the set? Did they want to quickly one-up Coppola? They're like, we'll just churn out something very similar to what they seem to be doing over there.
It's possible that no one knows when this movie was shot, when it came out.
Yeah.
5 years apart from stuff. I don't know. What you see on the VHS.
What's it say?
It says 77 on the VHS.
Yeah. This movie is it's pretty good. It's got some moments. It moves pretty fast. I'm not super bored very often. Texas Tom is amazing. Pleasence has screen presence, of course. And I'm okay with it. I like Georgia and Leslie. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not an all-time classic by any means, but I liked it better this time than the first time I saw it. And Texas Tom, he's a Hall of Famer. Charlie, give me your review.
I think I liked it a little better this time as well. It's a very aimless movie and very dark, lighting wise, because so much of it takes place at night, and I find that kind of wearying. So when you watch it in a shock marathon, you start to get very tired because it's a little bit repetitive, and it's not a lot of progression in this movie. In the middle parts, it's just like a lot of freaking out and hanging out. But the characters are pretty memorable. I like 70s melodrama, which it delivered, and some couple good lines that we still use nowadays. So that's good enough.
Yeah, 70s melodrama is a key component. I like that. Tom?
Yeah, I definitely liked it more this time too. I think collectively we paid more attention because we seem to have gotten some of the facts wrong.
Yeah.
When we first saw it. But I like what I like most about it is the setting, a unique setting. Like it's such a crazy setup. You're on an island with some Buddhist monastery statues and sculptures that are being restored, and there's a puma, panther, leopard thing, but there's also this like leisure house with all these odd chairs all over the place, and everyone's sitting on the ground, and the characters it's kind of all out of some weird dream. No, I've never seen a movie like that, especially a horror movie. Like, it's so odd. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when it ended, my brain totally expected the credits to roll fast and for it to be 1985 and for a local commercial to suddenly run on a Saturday on local TV, like an ad for a local arcade or something. It felt so much like a movie that would just be on local TV in 1985, and was a pleasant, just a pleasant distraction. And it's got a lot of adventure. It's horror, but it's also a little bit more action adventure or maybe just adventure too. But which is a pleasant departure.
It's Conrad-esque.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. Pleasance is great. I mean, just for Texas Tom posing and dancing and talking about the cage, that's all good. Yep.
The best parts were all the parts that weren't in the script, bro.
Yeah, it feels like they had an island, they had a cat, and they had Donald Pleasence for 4 days. It feels like,
Yeah.
and frankly, oftentimes that is a recipe for disaster, a la Blood Feast. I don't, perhaps Blood Feast isn't a disaster in your eyes, guys, but
I love Blood Feast.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how dare I say that?
Kind of a gem.
But we'll have to rewatch Blood Feast. Blood Feast is the cats, right?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Dorgo and
Yeah.
the helicopter.
Yeah,
I-
we should watch that next. It's in line with this theme.
It has the same vibe,
Yeah.
the same like tropical.
Hunter, playboy, mansion people
We'll find out very soon how it compares. But I'm gonna say
with servants.
I'm gonna say right now
Yeah.
this one's better because it doesn't have a helicopter. That's my current opinion. So yeah, my shock memories were just I just remembered a little girl on scaffolding, and Texas Tom dancing. And this time around, I don't know, I was less bored watching it this time than I was the first time. Any memories, guys? Tom?
I didn't remember much besides I remembered Pleasance, shouting. What in my memory, I remembered Pleasance shouting at the leopard, but in reality, it all took place in his head, and he didn't open his mouth at all. but that was kind of it. But I wasn't bored for a second watching this time.
Yeah, I find it more coherent than I estimated it to be.
Yeah.
The first time that we watched it, I remember thinking it was just random footage put together. And then I think Tom told me a story that some of the negative had been lost in a trunk somewhere of a car.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have all their footage, but they still just put it together and made a movie. Maybe had to shoot other things to fill it in or something. And that seems like, wow, my original estimation movie was, yes, that makes sense, because all of a sudden the credits are rolling and you just like, what did I watch? But it's a little bit better than that. It's still aimless, more or less, but it's a little bit better than that.
Faint praise, but yeah, it's 1970s. It's super 70s with its meandering philosophical talk and like Charlie said, just something in the air regarding these lone people out there fighting nature, man versus nature, very primordial. Is that it?
Yeah, man's inhumanity to leopard.
Mhm.
But I just need to point out one last time, the whole premise ruins the movie. If you can pay $10,000 to get the locals to catch the beast, that erases everything. I mean, the beast is supposedly running rampant all over the place, killing people for the joy of killing, and that's why Axel came in the first place, I think.
Right.
And yet,
That's right.
and yet, immediately after the beast hurts Axel's leg, he can just pay off local hunters. I mean, what were the local hunters doing before that? They were just watching their villages get destroyed, and like, well, we're gonna let that beast keep doing it until a writer pays us $10,000.
Yeah, it's better to not die. Just
They knew
they were holding out.
I guess maybe that one guy died. That one guy in the net. They just did he die,
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah,
I think so.
and
I
somebody
think
else did too.
It
They
seems like that was their plan. They're like, Johnny, go light a cigarette in the back there, lure the beast to the net, and thank you.
yeah, you're cat bait, Johnny.
He's actual cat bait. Oh, yeah. The laughing fit is amazing. Pleasance. Look at me, silly cat bait. So
It's remarkable how little hunting Pleasence does in this movie. how little walking he does. There's those couple shots you mentioned, but for
like you don't.
his big game hunting days must be 40 years in the past.
Yeah, but like it's so easy, you know. All you have to just have him kneel down and like look at a track or something. Like nothing like that happens. He just kind of walks around. There's nothing.
He's
just wandering around hoping he runs into him.
yeah, it's like they went out and they pointed the camera in 4 different directions. Like, all right, quick, walk in that direction. Good. Now we'll go this way. It looks like a different landscape. Now that way and that way. Those are all the hunting shots. We're just gonna use every millisecond.
And now you're in the house for the rest of the movie. You're in the house, sitting, sweating and sitting there poetically.
With a crazed look in your eye. Oh wow. So, what's this movie called again?
I could just picture that right after some of those takes, Nancy Kwan if she knew someone there on the set, or like the other actress was like, "What's up with this guy?" Like about Pleasence, you know, because like he's still going on and he's in the foreground and she's in the background trying to like match his craziness or act off of it, and it's like don't even try, because he's delivering tons of craziness.
Oh, to be a mosquito on the wall at in that little island, that would have been fun to see what was going on there. So it's called Night Creature, right?
Yep.
You have any alternate titles offhand we can give the people, or no?
Fear is one of them. Out of the Darkness. Tom, I think that was the main other one, but I also just like Cat.
Yeah.
I like Cat. Yeah.
Cat.
I also have Devil Cat written down here.
I like that.
Like, hey guys, you want to go to the movies tonight? You want to go see Cat?
Yes.
What about Fear?
Fear, yeah.
So
It's great.
Tom
It's
Hanks
great.
would go. Tom Hanks in
He Knows You're Alone.
He Knows You're Alone would go see Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Night Creature's well worth watching, and we'll see you next month for another exciting edition. For Tom and Charlie, this is Farley saying good night.